Good morning, students. We have already started the nervous system chapter, and in this chapter we have discussed about the structure of neuron, which is the structure and functional unit of the nervous system. It contains three major parts, and in this rough diagram, the diagram I have drawn just to remind you about the structure that we have studied earlier. It contains these hair-like projections, that is the dendrite, then the cell body which contains the nucleus, then this portion is the axon, and it ends into the bulb-like structure which is the synaptic cleft or synapse, is the junction between two neurons. Junction between two neurons which contains the neuroreceptor, that is neurotransmitter which is the acetylcholine, and the nerve impulse which is received from by the dendrites is transmitted to the cell body, then to the axon, and again the impulse is transmitted through the synaptic cleft to another neuron. So this is the way by which it is transmitted. Now the nerves. What is the difference between a sum? Because the students are basically confused about the neurons and the nerves. The nerves and neurons, there is difference between neuron and nerves when neurons are arranged in such a manner that the axon which is covered with the myelin sheath, which is covered all around, it is covered with a myelin sheath, and all these axons of different neurons, when they are bundled together in a tubular sheath, this is axon of various neurons bundled together with a tubular sheath, then it is termed as nerve. This is about the axon. Then what about the cell body? Cell body, I am just making a circle to represent that cell body. All the cell bodies, it gives a projection gives the aggregate of the cell body. The aggregates or of the cell body is termed as ganglia. So the bundle of axons, axons when bundled together, it is termed as nerve. Cell bodies aggregated together, forming a cluster, then it is ganglia. So there are these two terms. Then types of nerves. Types of nerves. Nerves are basically of three types: sensory nerves, motor nerves, and mixed nerves. First one is the sensory, second motor, and third is mixed nerve. As from the name you can recognize that sensory nerves are present in the sense organs or the receptor organs, from where the messages are conveyed. Messages are conveyed from the sense organ to brain or spinal cord. This is from the sense organ, from the receptor organ, conveyed from the sense organ or the receptors to brain or spinal cord. This is the sensory nerve. Now about motor nerves. Motor nerves conveys messages are conveyed from brain or spinal cord to sense organ organs or receptor areas. Receptors. Now what about mixed nerves? Mixed nerve comprises sensory as well as motor nerves. When both the nerves are present, then it is a mixed nerve. When it performs both the functions, sensory as well, function of a sensory as well as mixed nerve, as it contains both the nerves in it. Become first was the sensory nerve. It receives messages from the sense organ. Suppose if I have touched a pointed object, then the message is transmitted from this area through the sensory nerves to the brain or spinal cord. So this transmission is via sensory nerves. Now there is a message comes from brain to pull my hand back. So that pulling my hand back, this action is taken by me when the message is conveyed from brain to the sensory nerve that pull your hand back. So this message is sent from the sensory area to the brain or spinal cord, and from the returning or the messages that what action to be taken is conveyed from brain or spinal cord to the sensory sense organs or the receptor area. So this is the function of motor nerves. Then mixed nerves. Mixed nerve contains both sensory as well as motor nerves. So this is about the nerves. Here, like in your book, the book that we follow, in this example is given about the optic nerves. Optic nerves send messages from eye to the brain or spinal cord, and then only we can see see whatever is around us or whatever is in this surrounding. So that message is received through the optic nerves. Optic nerves are the sensory nerves. Here the nerves associated with the skeletal muscles and all, these are voluntary and action. These are controlled by the motor nerves. All actions are controlled by the motor nerves, and the reactions or the reply of every step is or the reply by our body is through the brain, by the message when it is transcribed by brain or spinal cord. It is then the message is conveyed to the sensory organs to perform an action. So this is by the motor nerves. Now the nervous system, type of nervous system. Nervous system comprises two basic units. One, it is the CNS, Central Nervous System. While another one is PNS, Peripheral Nervous System. Central nervous system is related to the brain and spinal cord, while peripheral nervous system constitutes the nerves arising from and ending into brain or spinal cord. So the nerves arising from The brain or spinal cord, or the nerves ending into brain or spinal cord, comprises the PNS. PNS is again divided into two sections, that is SNS or ANS. SNS is somatic nervous system. Somatic nervous system. ANS is autonomic nervous system. Somatic nervous system conveys messages to the skeletal muscles. Skeletal muscles, or these skeletal muscles are in our control, so it controls basically all the voluntary actions. Voluntary actions are controlled by SNS or the somatic nervous system. While ANS comprises the nerves or nerves arising or ending from the smooth muscles, cardiac muscles, or any organ gland, any organ or gland. So since these muscles, these organs, these glands are not in our control, their action is fixed, they are performing their action on its own, then they are involuntary. So all the involuntary actions are under the control of ANS. I am repeating, nervous system is divided into two parts: central nervous system, which comprises brain and spinal cord; peripheral nervous system, it comprises all the nerves arising from and ending into the brain or the spinal cord. Peripheral nervous system is again divided into two sections. One is the SNS, somatic nervous system, which sends messages, which receives messages from the skeletal muscles, which is, or it is related to all the voluntary action, all the actions that are performed by us voluntarily or by our own consent. Then it is controlled by the somatic nervous system, while autonomic nervous system sends messages from the smooth muscles, cardiac muscles, or organs or gland that are involuntary in actions. Now, in the previous videos, I have taken various topics together, but from now onwards, we'll take few topics at a time so that it would be easier for you to revise, to learn, to repeat. Thank you, students, for joining the class.